Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Knudsen, and I'm with Fairfax County's Department of Transportation. And I want to welcome you to this meeting tonight to discuss the traffic calming plan for Bass Street. And we can start off with introductions. And tonight from FCDOT, we have Grace Vaughn and Nicole Machakwe joining us. And from the Franconia District Supervisor's Office, we will hopefully have Aaron Campbell joining before the meeting's over. It doesn't look like he's on yet, but we'll keep an eye out for him. Nicole has a short presentation to go through, and then after the presentation, we'll open the meeting up for community questions and comments. And if any of the community task force members are on the meeting tonight, they can introduce themselves following the presentation. So, Nicole, if you're ready, go ahead and take it away and start the presentation.
Certainly. Thank you, Steve. Hi, everyone, and welcome in tonight. We are here, like Steve said, to discuss the traffic calming plan for Bass Street. Okay, I do want to note that this session is being recorded and may be shared on social media. Please hold all questions to the end of the presentation, and instructions on how to ask your questions will be provided after the presentation. So today we are here to explain the traffic calming process, provide opportunity for community feedback, and answer any questions that you all might have. So we can start out with what is traffic calming. Traffic calming is the installation of physical devices to reduce vehicle speed. These devices can either be vertical or horizontal. Vertical devices can be driven over, such as a speed hump, as you can see in the upper hand image. And then for horizontal devices, you drive around, such as a raised median island, as you can see in the upper right hand image. Both types of devices make the road safer for both pedestrians and drivers. I would also like to note that through this process, we are not permitted to install stop signs. Here we're showing charts and images showing the effects of decreased speed. As speed decreases, visual acuity, field of vision, and depth perception increase. Also, with the reduced speed, we see a significant reduction in vehicle speeds, which makes the road safer for pedestrians and drivers alike. Here we are showing a map that shows all installed projects, traffic calming projects throughout Fairfax County. There are over 266 projects resulting in over 600 devices installed countywide. Every district has a device, so chances are that you've driven over one are pretty high. I would also like to say that FCDOT and the District Supervisor's Office collaborate with the citizens on community-initiated projects. So all these projects are community-initiated. The upcoming program can be broken into 5 steps. So step number 1 is project initiation. Step number 2 is plan development. Step number 3 is community engagement. Step number 4 is ballot phase. And step number 5, which is the final step, is project installation. So we'll go through the steps one by one. To start with project initiation, step number 1. As I said earlier, all traffic calming projects are always community initiated. So the process begins when the community sends the request to the supervisor's office. Once Fairfax County Department of Transportation receives that request, we will conduct a basic eligibility review, and then we will conduct a traffic study. If the subject road qualifies for both basic eligibility review and traffic study, the community will then form a task force. There are basic eligibility requirements that need to be met. So the road needs to be a VDOT maintained road, have a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, be functionally classified as local, collector, or arterial. And if it's collector or arterial, it needs to be a residential street. For the traffic study components, We need the volume criteria between 500 and 6,000 vehicles, 24 hours, both directions combined. So for Bass Street, we had 1,030, so it met the volume criteria. For the speed criteria, we need the 85th percentile of speed needs to be greater than or equal to 35 miles per hour. So what this means is that 15% of vehicles need to be traveling 35 miles per hour or greater in at least one direction of travel. So for Bass Street, the 85th percentile in the northbound lane was 34, and in the southbound lane, it was 36 miles per hour. So we met the speed criteria as well. So after passing those, we can now move on to step number 2, which is plan development, the second step in the process. First, we will conduct a site visit in the field in order to develop a draft plan. Once we have that draft plan, we will meet with the task force to get feedback and amend the plan if necessary. Once the task force is satisfied with the draft plan, homeowners directly adjacent to any proposed measure will need to sign off the placement of the device in order to move to the next step. There are device placement requirements. Based on these guidelines, we need a minimum of 300 feet between measures and existing stopping conditions. We need a minimum of 150 feet from an intersection. And we need a minimum of 150 feet for continuous sight distance with any type of device. And it also needs to fit on the existing roadway. So we need to take into account of any driveways, manholes, utilities, and we also have to count for the grade of the road. So based on available options and site visit and the guidelines, we are able to propose 4 speed humps on Bass Street. As seen on the device map, the addresses and the blue boxes needed to sign off the devices since they are proposed directly adjacent to their homes. Here we have a speed hump schematic. The speed hump is 12 feet long and 3 inches high at center. There will be white chevrons in each travel lane with a recommended speed of 15-mile-an-hour sign on either side of the device, as you can see in the image on the graph. So step number 3 is community engagement, which we are here today. This is where we present the plan to the community to obtain feedback. Based on that feedback, the task force will decide whether they want to amend the plan or proceed to the next step. If the task force decides to move forward, we can move forward to the next step, which is ballot phase. So step number 4, ballot phase. Each household in the ballot area will receive 1 vote, and that vote needs to be sent directly to the supervisor's office. The ballot time period will be open for a minimum of 3 weeks, and it will need to be received by the date marked on the ballot. The district supervisor's office staff will tally the votes and notify the task force of the results. Here we have an example of the ballot. The proposed devices will be listed on the ballot, and the community will be voting on the entirety of the plan. The task force is responsible for distributing the valid packages to everyone in the ballot area. So there are 3 ways to return your ballot by the deadline. One way is you can mail in your ballot directly to the supervisor's office. Number 2, you can hand deliver it directly to the supervisor's office. Or number 3, you can email it directly to the supervisor's office. Ballots should not be returned to the task force, so please make sure that the ballots are returned directly to the supervisor's office. Here we have a ballot area map for Bass Street. There are 56 ballots. In order for the plan to move forward, we need greater than 50% of all households to vote in favor for the plan. So we would need 29 yes votes in order for the plan to move forward. So if we get the required number of yes votes, we can move to step number 5, which is project installation, the final step in the process. So the traffic calming plan we will present to Fairfax County Board of Supervisors and send the resolution to VDOT. Once endorsed by the Board of Supervisors and the resolution is accepted by VDOT, Fairfax County Department of Transportation will work with the Department of Public Works and Environmental Services to schedule installation. And then the last step finally will be the traffic calming plan will be installed. So here's the end of the presentation. We can now move on to the questions and answer session. We have 2 options, chat or speak. Once the chat item is activated on Teams, you can use it by typing in your question. And if you want to speak, please click on the raise hand icon. And when it's your turn, the host will call on you and send you an unmute request. Once you receive that request, hit allow, and then it will be your turn to speak. If you are calling in by phone, please push *5 to raise your hand. When it is your turn, the host will call on you and you can ask your question. You need to push *6 to unmute yourself. And after you're finished asking your question, please push *5 to unraise your hand. Okay, thank you very much.
Nicole, would you like to go to the slide that it does show the next steps that would happen after this meeting?
Right. Give me a couple minutes. I'm sorry.
It looks like we also have a hand raised. Let me know if you want me to unmute Brian, Steve, or if
Yes,
you want.
please
Okay.
unmute.
All right, Brian, I'm sending you a request. Brian, I can try again and see if it gets you the second time. It should come your way. Yeah, I see the entry in chat. I can start. Looks like there's a couple questions in here. So it looks like there's a question about how much it will cost and how the project will be funded. And whether or not we should be prioritizing this or other road improvements and within the county. Do you want to take that first couple of questions?
Sure. Nicole, you've probably been doing more of the cost estimates than I have lately. What do you think these 4 speed humps would cost? Probably in the neighborhood of 60,000 maybe for the whole installation.
I would say that's probably going to be on the upper end. So yeah, around 50 to 60,000.
Okay. So the cost would be about $50,000 to $60,000 for this. So this is paid out of what is considered carryover money from the county's yearly budget. That's where we get our funding for this program. So it's paid from county tax money, county tax funds sources. And Grace, you did say there were a number of questions in there, if you want to keep going.
Yeah, the next one, why not place speed limit signs? Or limit parking to one of the sides of the streets.
Okay, well, we'll talk about the speed limit signs fall under the authority of VDOT. So these are their roads, these are public roads, and VDOT does maintain them, and one of the responsibilities is making sure that the roads are adequately signed for speed limits. So that would fall under their responsibility. Generally, for residential streets, they're going to put speed limit signs at the point of entry onto the roadway. So you would probably have like a speed limit sign on Bath at somewhere around like Hanover and maybe up around Grace, maybe possibly one at Floyd or Essex. So they're generally not going to put too many more signs, speed limit signs on a residential roadway like this, with the posted speed limit being 25, which is your typical speed limit for a residential roadway. And what was the next question?
The next question is asking about the effects that the installation of speed humps have on other roads nearby, if this causes more speeding or traffic on them.
I mean, we generally don't see too much displaced traffic. We would need to have probably an easy route for people to, move off of Bath onto to avoid the speed humps. There might be, additional traffic on Hanover or Charlotte, but generally we're not seeing that too much. So I don't think that would occur too often for these installations here on Bath Street. And I think there was also one a question about restricting parking on one side, which would be something that would be kind of unusual for a residential street like this, where most people expect access to parking in front of their homes.
Okay, I think the last thing in here that I'm seeing is asking if Crestwood would also be getting speed humps.
Right now, we're just working on Bath Street. We would need a separate request for another road to look at that. So if there is concern about another street in the neighborhood, we would need to receive another request for that particular street, study it, see if it qualifies, and it does, then move forward.
Okay, I think I got answered all those, but if there's something I'm missing, let me know and I can bring it up.
All right. I think they are saying that something doesn't seem to be working. I'm assuming that's the raising of hands. Um,
Yeah, I think I
or
tried
is
to
that
unmute Brian earlier. I'm not sure it's working. I can try again now and see if that
okay?
I should
Yeah,
have just
sometimes
sent you something.
if you have like a pop-up blocker on, it will prevent you from getting that pop-up saying allow mic. So just make sure all your pop-up blockers are released for the site that you're using if you're using Teams outside of the app.
Okay, there's also another question. How long from once the ballot stage is completed until the humps are actually installed?
All right, Nicole, go take that one away. You can,
Okay, so let's say the ballot period goes quickly. So that should be a number of weeks. So the ballot time period is open for 3 weeks minimum. And for the task force, I would add a buffer of 1 to 2 weeks to get the materials ready and distributed. Then after that, we will need to look for the Board of Supervisors date to take it to the board. So depending on when that happens is when we can take it to the board. And then after that, after it's endorsed, we will need to put the materials together and then forward them on to the Department of Public Works and Environmental Services. So once we transfer it over to the Department of Public Works and Environmental Services, it is taking them around, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks to get that done. So all goes smoothly. I would say probably 8 to 9 months. And also depending on the type of year or time of year, I'm sorry, we can't install the devices in cold weather situations. So if it is wintertime where we get to that process, we will have to wait until the next seasonal time where we can. But correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, I would probably say it's probably closer to a summer 2025 installation if all goes smoothly.
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate. I think the summer of 2025 if all things pass. And Nicole did pull up an additional slide that kind of explains the ballot process and what happens after this meeting. So if you do, if the task force does want to move forward with this, they would just need to let Fairfax County know. And then also notify or also engage with the supervisor's office and make a determination if you want the ballot sent to the occupant of the address in the ballot area, or if you want it sent to the property owner of that address. So that would be a decision that the task force and the supervisor's office can make together. So that can go either to the property owner of the address that's in the ballot area or the actual occupant at that address. So that's just a decision that the task force and the supervisor's office will need to make. Once that determination is made, you would just need to let the FCDOT know. Actually, it would probably be the Franklin County office. They would let us know. Once that determination is made, then we'll move forward to sending out the ballot cover letter, which is a standard template that has information about the ballot process. You would just need to modify it to represent the Bath Street project, send it back to us, and we would review it. And once everything is approved for that cover letter, we would send over the rest of the ballot documents for you to modify and produce and send out to the addresses in the ballot area.
Okay, thank you. There is another question in chat. Do they at all slow police or fire response?
So there is an anticipated delay in response times. Generally, it's going to be between 5 to 10 seconds per device. It's kind of dependent on the vehicle that's crossing it and also the device type. So the speed humps that we're proposing for Bath Street are a little bit more aggressive. So those reduced response times might be a little bit higher. So it probably are on the higher end, so closer to the 10 seconds than the 5.
The same question asker asks why more aggressive?
So I think it was just the task force. Were we able to offer speed tables on this project? I don't remember. I know that we do have the opportunity in some places to offer a speed table. And they are a little bit more difficult to place just because of their size. They have a larger footprint on the roadway, and sometimes they don't fit. So we would have to fall back to just the speed hump as an option. So also, I think the task force did feel that they did want to be a little bit more aggressive in their attempt to lower the operating speeds on Bass Street.
Yeah, Steve, I think that we did have a couple options for speed tables, but as you said, they are harder to fit on the roadway. And so we were with the driveways and the placements of utilities and also the grade of the road, we were kind of having issues trying to find locations that would fit a device.
And so we do also have a slide that shows how to contact the Franconia District Office and FCDOT following this meeting. So if people do come up with questions afterwards, they can reach out to FCDOT staff at by email at dotinfo@fairfaxcounty.gov and put Bass Street traffic calming in the subject line. And that email will get to the staff here that are on the meeting tonight. Or you can call 703-877-5600 and ask to talk to somebody about the Bass Street traffic calming process. The same is true for the Franconia District Supervisor's Office. The email address there is franconia@fairfaxcounty.gov with Bass Street traffic calming in the subject line, or call 703-971-6262. And you can ask to talk to Aaron or talk to somebody about the Bass Street traffic calming process. And I think that we should have this meeting, the video of this meeting available sometime in the near future.
Yes. So whoever's joining in this evening and who has ever registered using their email, we can publish this video and it will be sent directly to your email. We will also work to get this on our YouTube channel. So that might take either a couple days or possibly into next week. And we'll provide that to the district supervisor's office. So if you're interested in getting that recording, please reach out to the supervisor's office, or you can also reach out to us to our DOT info email. Don't see any more questions coming in or any more hands raised.
Okay, like we said, after this meeting, the task force should regather, make a determination if they want to move forward with this process. If they do, they would just need to reach out to the supervisor's office and discuss if they want the ballots to go to the occupant of the address in the ballot area or the property owner of the address in the ballot area. Once that decision is made, we can start that ballot process going. So that would be the next thing that the task force needs to do. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach back out to FCDOT. I know that Aaron never did log on tonight, so we will keep him informed as to, where the status is for this process. So if we do not have any more questions tonight, we'll go ahead and end the meeting for this evening. So we do appreciate you all logging on and spending your time here listening to this presentation. So thank you.